now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. Last night on the television, I was on a telephone rapidly rising and with I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's lives reflected in the NHEI. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was inflicting we're going to seize the ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. Let me make that near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. I don't think as the idea that political coverage of I want to thank and recognize Dr. John Kingersong. I can't get this to function at all. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Sorry, my mind's going blank there. Dr. John Kingersong. Dr. John Kingersong. Oh my goodness, that will give us memes for decades. We did get something out of Joe Biden's presidency. It was that. Oh, the sound is terrible. That's an improvement, partner. Yeah, that's a lot better. Wow, what is with this microphone? Bizarre. One time it works, one time it doesn't. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. It is, of course, Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. Woo, what a busy time. I was up a fair portion of last night making video production for the censored @Real Chris Wyatt channel. Did some makeovers on it, did a new welcome video about Redshift Africa. The channel, I thought I renamed it, but it doesn't say that. It's supposed to be Redshift with Colonel Chris Wyatt, but it still says Colonel Chris Wyatt. I've got to work on that. Anyway, lots of video production last night. Donald Trump is a fascist. Did you know that? Donald Trump is a fascist, courtesy of retired Marine General John Kelly. Well, thank you for that enlightening statement there. Where's your empirical evidence? I did a video refuting most of what he said last night, just silly stuff. The Washington Post has lost 200,000 subscribers because they have decided not to endorse a presidential candidate. So, of course, the little leftists are going to throw their toys out of the pram. Let's throw our toys out of the pram. No, I want leftist endorsements. Oh, my goodness. Children, toddlers, to say the least, leftists. Now, to be fair, once upon a time, I did cancel my subscription to The Economist, a subscription that I had for well over 3 decades. But the reason I canceled it wasn't because they wouldn't endorse a presidential candidate, but because The Economist had gone full-on leftist and propagandist. For several years, I maintained my subscription and paid that expensive Economist subscription year after year, despite their lies and propaganda. What did it for me, which turned me against The Economist, was a copy after the Iraq war started, when They claim no weapons of mass destruction have been found, but in fact, weapons of mass destruction have been used by the Iraqis, firing Scud missiles into Kuwait before the conflict even started. The Iraqis, or when the conflict started, I should say, on the cover of The Economist, they had a picture of Blair and Bush calling them weapons of mass deception. The weapon of mass deception is the legacy media, not Blair and Bush. Plenty of issues to complain about Blair and Bush, their governance and how they led, but they were not weapons of mass deception. I was involved in what happened. The Iraqis did commit war crimes, crimes against humanity. They did violate the terms of the United Nations, 17 resolutions, and therefore were subject to punishment. The way to punish them, that's another question. How the punishment was executed, yet another question. But the reality is that they were not weapons of mass deception. This is propaganda by The Economist. I dumped it. But the Washington Post has lost 200,000 subscribers because they are no longer printing leftist propaganda, at least according to the leftists who threw their toys out of the pram. I joked about the Colonel's insomnia. He was uploading at 3 a.m. Here's a few hours later, fresh and fit. Yeah, no, I was broadcasting or making videos still at 5 a.m. last night on that channel. Let's see, what did we put up there last night? I can't remember all things. Probably smarter for me just to go here and look under my editing software because that will be the videos be listed there. There we go, output. Right, it's going to take a moment because I've got so many videos in here. I constantly have to move these things into storage. I am contemplating a cloud storage server here in my house, but I want something that's got like 20 terabytes where I can back up stuff and not have to worry about it. Yeah, those are pricey. So let's see. I may need the glasses for this. My eyes are a little bit out of focus after being up for most of the last day or so. Let's see. I did last night. John Kelly calls Trump a fascist. Redshift with a kernel. Compromised election about ballot boxes being torched in Washington and Oregon. And then Lancaster County District Attorney reporting 2,500 ballots that were harvested, the registration, not ballots, but registration harvesting that came in very late. 60% were fraudulent. That's 1,500 false registrations. The Washington Post losing subscribers. Then I did on this channel, ANC, venerating martyrs. They're martyrs from Hezbollah and Hamas. It's strange. And then I just did another video. So that's what today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos today. Just did another video for Rugby and Senate on Graham Roundtree out at Munster as the head coach. Yeah, been a busy beaver, have I? As always. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. We got 25 likes out of 59. I need a little more sugar because the caffeine really doesn't do much for me. I'm inured to it. Ooh, big word alert, inured. Bashar al-Assad. Are you talking about in Syria? Well, he's just as evil as his father Hafez. They're just nasty. But he was a dentist or ophthalmologist, wasn't he, this guy? Bezos tried to explain that the feral leftists that were WAPA was becoming was echo chamber that only talked themselves. Yeah, well, that's what it's been for years. Con Eggman says that the server's in your house. It's not a cloud server unless you live on the top of a mountain. Okay, Con. Fair point. I don't live on top of a mountain, but I do live adjacent to a mountain. There's a mountain just that way, 1.9 kilometers. Sanctions didn't work on Russia. Yeah, no, I said that. I said they wouldn't work back in 2022 when they implemented the sanctions. I said they will not work. Why? Because Russia made a deal with China and they're okay. Yeah, so not because of BRICS, but because of the dirty deal they did with China. Well, let's go ahead and say hello to everybody since we've got started looking at the chat here. Chris Stead is here. Chantel Boyson says, made it in time and thinks she did watch the EFF story. Thank you for that, Pablo Charlie. Folks, if you know anybody, please tell them about the channel. We are stagnating again. I want to get to 20,000 subscribers on the channel. We're at 19,100. Got a ways to go. Need a big video to push us up there. Haven't had one in about a month. We've been stagnant for a month, and it's frustrating. This channel should have 500,000 subscribers, honestly. It really should. Charles Van Olsen, the voice of reason, is here. Richard Kuhn is back. Trevor Bush says, good evening. Ronnie Casrels is a self-hating Jew. South Africa should be removed from AGOA, says Trevor. Yep, South Africa isn't entitled to AGOA. And I am a huge fan of South Africa, love South Africa, love the South African people from all different backgrounds. But quite frankly, South Africa, because the ANC's actions, does not deserve to be in AGOA. And it is pushing really hard to have itself removed. so it can play the victim. Hakan Engman in from Netherlands. Pablo Charlie's back. Light Rain in from the West Coast. Alan Kotza, Val Cooper. Ken Aronson loves the Biden thing. Yeah. Dr. John, Kinga song. Where the hell am I at? Don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Sounds just like Joe Biden and his protege, Kamala Harris. Madam Vice President, many people have said that you've been in this administration for 3.5 years, yet you're calling for a change in politics. But when asked the question, what would you change? You said, not a thing. What do you say to those supporters who are frustrated by your position? Let me be perfectly clear, Brett. Donald Trump has been running for office for 9 years. What? So, Madam Vice President, you've been the Vice President for 3.5 years. What would you change from the Biden administration's policies going forward if you become president? I can't think of a single thing I'd change. Good God. Woo, these people are total wackadoodles, man. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Alan Coates, Janet Liddy's in from South Carolina. Hey, Janet, always a pleasure to see you. Hester, same thing. Light Rain, Pablo Charlie. I'm only waving to the ladies. Vilma. Debbie Morey's here. Hey, Debbie. Let's see. Bezos already got that. And then Garrett Gillich is here. Du alter Knabe, du Leutnant. Und, wie sagt man das auf Deutsch? Nachrichtendienst. Ja, Nachrichtendienst, yeah. Chris, your take on why the U.S. blew up Nord Stream. I can neither confirm nor deny the United States blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. However, if the United States did blow up the Nord Stream pipeline, it's because Joe Biden is a moron. Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi, welcome back to you. Mark Rutte will go down as the best Secretary General in NATO's history. You think? I don't. Nord Stream's never have happened anyways. Fair point. Donald Trump made that point about Nord Stream, and then the Biden administration let it go forward, and then we blew it up, as they say. So they say. That may be the case. Your guess is as good as mine. Let's begin our coverage of the news with early voting in the United States. Botswana's election is coming up tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's tomorrow. Let's take a look and see at early voting. This is what's going on with early voting. People came and people left. What's going on there? We had 80 and 5 people left. Why'd you leave? What's that all about? Or is it just YouTube playing its typical games? Last night, Elon Musk posted something. He said, the Joe Rogan interview with Donald Trump is not on YouTube. Search Trump Joe Rogan. And he says, some guy tweeted, he retweeted. So I searched Trump Joe Rogan, and the interview came up, said 36 million views on YouTube. So I posted and I said, well, look, they're bad enough. We don't need to spread misinformation. This is my experience searching, and here's the screenshot. Some lady said, I just searched it and I couldn't find it too. So I replied to her politely and said, hey, it's YouTube. Go figure. I mean, they hide my content from my own subscribers. They don't even tell my subscribers that I'm live. Many of them. They don't even tell my subscribers I posted videos. Many of them. This morning, a disinterested party who watches my content in the United States was only informed and is subscribed to all my channels, only informed about 3 of my 5 videos posted. The other 2, not bothered, still haven't been notified. Last time I talked to that person about an hour ago. And all those videos were posted 6 hours ago, 7 hours ago. So, yeah, and I said, so this is my experience, it's YouTube. I said, look at my channel. Not even reported. Now, YouTube has started same horse shit this week. On all 3 of my channels, the past 2 days, I've seen a decline in subscribers, people being taken away. When I'm getting notification, new subscribers, there's more people being taken away. YouTube is up to their vicious games, but let's go back. And it's not just me. It's everybody who's a content creator. I don't know what that stupidity is going on at YouTube. How do I get 123,000 views on one video on my original channel for Trump, and then 300 for the next one, 172 for the next one, 250 for the next one, 700. They're just as good a quality. They're just as interesting breaking news. In fact, the one about the votes, that one, YouTube's going to suppress that. They don't want anyone to tell the truth about what's happening in the election. I don't know why. It's news. People want to see it. Why do you hide it? It's a really good video. Anyway, and it's factual. It's not supposition and crazy lunatical stuff. It's actually analysis from a genuine intelligence professional. But hey, we'll just cover it up. Why not? YouTube will ramp up their censorship in the coming days. Yes, Charles, and they'll ramp it up after the election when Trump wins. If Trump loses, they'll definitely ramp it up. Anybody that says anything about the election, if Trump loses, then that's just going to be kibosh. You're going to get strike, channel taken away. I'm prepared for it. I'm already prepared for it. Anyway, let's take a look at the news. And this is an interesting map here, courtesy of the Washington Post, where democracy goes to die. Let's take a look. This is a map showing early voting, which I think is disgraceful, and I'm opposed to it. There should be no such thing as early voting except for federal absentee ballots. But let's take a look. The southeastern United States seems to have a lot of states with high turnout. Let's start in Florida, where 51.8% of the electorate has already voted. That's the 2020 numbers. So based on 2020, they've got 4.6 million votes. Over half the people, the number for 2020, have already voted in Florida. Moving up to Georgia, 70.5% of the early votes. So either there's going to be a massive turnout, record turnout, or we've got most people having already voted in Georgia, one of the two. But what is interesting is that the Democrats lied about Georgia's voting laws. Georgia changed their voting laws requiring voter ID, and also they've tightened up some security things. And the leftist, black supremacist, and the Democrats whine vociferously, oh, it's racist. Oh, it's voter suppression. Voter suppression. Ooh, voter suppression. Oh, my God. Citizens arrest, citizens arrest, citizens arrest. Like watching Gomer Pyle on Andy Griffith show. Citizens arrest. Voter suppression, my backside. Voter turnout has set records in Georgia in 2020, in 2022, and is likely to set another record in 2024 for turnout and actual vote numbers. But the leftists and the Democrats right now calling for voter ID is racist. It's racist. Poor black people don't have ID cards. Oh my God. Do you realize how racist it is to say such nonsense? So black people lack agency? They aren't bright enough to get identification cards? Why? Because they're stupid? Is that what you're saying? Oh my gosh. The bigotry and racism from the Democratic Party is so obvious, and they're so stupid they can't even see it. Wow. Well, immigrants and black people tend to have less education and less wealth and are less astute. Really? Is that what you're claiming? Wow, you some racist in that Democratic Party. You some racist leftists. Anyway, let's get back to the early voting. Georgia, 70%. Wow. South Carolina, 61% have already voted compared to 2020. North Carolina, 63% have already voted compared. These are all well over 50%. Virginia, 57%. Delaware, 52%. Pennsylvania, 53.5% of our voters have already done the early voting. Now, that's the early voting compared to last time. So that's crazy. That's not the total vote in Pennsylvania. That's the early voting. Yeah. So these are misleading figures here. That is the number of early votes, not the number of votes. So interesting. Michigan, we'll go back to this window here. Ears just broke. Citizens arrest. Michigan, it's at 58%. Vermont, 51%. Maine, almost 50%. Massachusetts, 50%. Connecticut, 58%. Louisiana, 77.6% of the early voting. Texas, 55%. New Mexico, 52%. Nevada, 53%. You'll notice there are swing states involved there. Nevada, Arizona at 46%. And Michigan at 58%. Georgia, those are all swing states. Wow. The early voting is well underway, something I find anathema. It's just alien to me. It makes no sense whatsoever. Citizens arrest. Citizens arrest. Racist. You're a racist for asking for ID. You can't ask for ID. It's racist. Good Lord. You gotta love their nonsense. They bring out all the stuff. They when Bruce Springsteen, the America-hating scumbag New Jersey musician, comes out, born in the USA, a country I hate every day. That scumbag Bruce Willis, or not Bruce Willis, he's a good guy. Bruce Springsteen. Bring out Beyonce. Makes no appearance at the convention. Punked you. It's like an Ashton Kutcher moment. We punked you. Now we go to the Texas event and Beyonce. 2 minutes, no songs. Yep. Psych, punked you again. Yep. Tyler Perry gets up and exposes what a racist he is in his commentary. His race hustling garbage. Utter nonsense. What a pathetic loser. The misogynistic films denigrating black women with his Madea idiocy and his lunatic baseless, silly obsession with black culture. Yeah, I said it. His obsession with it. Yeah, his misogynist films about black women. Yeah, making fun of them. The Mrs. Doubtfire of the black world. Yeah, Tyler Perry has destroyed his credibility. He has no more credibility. Unbelievable. And the list goes on and on. Barry Obama, of course, coming out. They got Michelle My Belle Obama out on the trail wearing a bizarre looking leopard mixed sort of outfit. It's just falling flat. It's not working. So when that doesn't work, they turn to Donald Trump as a fascist. He's a fascist. Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump is going to Madison Square Garden. Can you believe it? He's going to replicate the 1939 Nazi German-American Bund rally. Can you believe this? Unbelievable. Let's see. The Democrats and Republicans have been using Madison Square Garden for over a century, the various versions of Madison Square Garden. In fact, the Democrats have held not one, not two, but 4 Democratic National Conventions in Madison Square Garden, including 1992, when Hillary Clinton spoke at the Nazi rally. The Democratic National Convention at Madison Square Garden. Can you believe this nonsense from these people? And then they drag out John Kelly, the General John Kelly, who served as the Homeland Security Director and then also, of course, as Chief of Staff for Donald Trump. He doesn't know anything about the Constitution. He has no respect for veterans. He really says these things. It's terrible. And now that he's claimed he's going to use the military to oppress Americans, I must speak out. I must speak out. To the New York Times, of course. Yes, John Kelly. Look, John Kelly has besmirched his reputation as a general, diving into this political, lying about things. I'm sorry. I don't mean to attack a fellow officer, but his comments are simply political, and therefore he opens himself up to politics as a private citizen. Well, he talks about lots of things about Donald Trump, and he talks about Trump using the military for domestic tranquility. Well, George Washington raised the army, marched to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and put down the Whiskey Rebellion. That's use of the army for an internal insurrection. We had that situation. We also have a situation in the 1930s when Franklin Delano Roosevelt called out the army, and people like Patton and others and Eisenhower were present, and they beat up veterans, war veterans from First World War who were demanding their war bonuses, which the government had failed to pay for nigh on 20 years. They were asking for the bonuses, marching peacefully on the mall in the 1930s. And Roosevelt sent the army to attack them. They beat them with clubs. Veterans, army soldiers beating veterans. Yeah, that happened. You ever been told that story? It's not exactly a state secret. And then on top of that, a good use of the military, not the National Guard, but the active military, was sent to Little Rock, Arkansas in 1954 to enforce Brown versus the Board of Education, which overturned the abomination known as Plessy versus Ferguson from 1896, which said that separate but equal accommodations are acceptable. Therefore, making segregation the law of the land across the country, including in states that never had segregation. That by the Supreme Court, which can be flawed because humans are involved. Plessy versus Ferguson was overturned rightly by Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954 under the Eisenhower administration. A Republican administration had a court that overturned that. And then when racists in the South, Democrats in the South, refused to allow little black kids to attend school, threatening them, little children, 6 and 7-year-old kids going to primary school, being threatened with violence by thugs, terrifying situation. Eisenhower deployed the army to provide security, to ensure, because the police wouldn't do it in the southern states because they were Democrats and they were racist. So he sent the army in, and the army ensured domestic tranquility. So John Kelly has selective memory when he talks about use of the military in the United States. It's been used for many other things. JTF-5, JTF-6 are counter-drug operations, both of which have decades of U.S. military activity along our southern border. So there you have it. Jono's here out of idle curiosity. What's your idle curiosity about, Jono? Tell me what the topic is, idle curiosity, so I don't lose you as a viewer, and we'll get to it. Chris, you made good points about John Kelly. Yeah, thank you, Ken. Thank you very much. It pissed me off. It's an October surprise. The Democrats come with one October surprise after another trying to stall Donald Trump. They're terrified. They're terrified. And they should be terrified because people had enough of their garbage. They're trying to capitalize now on this guy's not very funny. I listened to him. A comic who did the opening, Kill Tony. I think that's a good idea. The guys kill him professionally. The guy's a loser. Wasn't very funny at all. He had a few lines that were entertaining, but he said funny things about everybody. But he's talking about the floating island of trash, which is in the Pacific, and he called it Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is an absolute disaster, and that's why there are 800,000 Puerto Ricans in New York. New Yorkers exist because Puerto Rico is such a disaster and has been a disaster for a century. I don't know if it's a floating garbage pit. I think they took that personally, but yeah, I understand where it's coming from. But they're trying to tar Trump with that. I don't know what the moron was that invited this guy to come there, but just wasn't the right speaker. Anyway, so they're going to try to play that up. Basically, I think that leftists just don't have a sense of humor. That's why comedy is dead. Everything's woke. So get over themselves. Specific concern is making me tired with all these China examples. If it's such a perfect country, we're going to say. I haven't seen any of those videos. I am subscribed to her channel. I have watched her content on South Africa. I think it's interesting, enlightening. And of course, she's a woman and she's black, so she gets a big audience in South Africa because she speaks conservative issues or libertarian issues. But I haven't seen her talk about China. If she's saying China is a good country, then she really doesn't know what she's talking about. China is an absolute disaster. It's an economic, it's a demographic, it's a political, it is an ecological disaster area. Yeah, anyway. Well, that's the first I heard about, Pablo. Thank you for sharing that. I'll have to check into it when I get a chance. Rooting out the betrayers. The ANC is going to go after the people inside his party who are betraying it. Well, good luck with that. That means 1/3 of your party is going to skedaddle and going to be gone. Fikile Mabulula. The worst thing to happen to the ANC since gaining power. Runs his mouth again. Rooting out betrayers. ANC to form a committee to investigate leaks within its ranks. The ANC wants to clamp down on media leaks within its ranks and will use forensic means to root out betrayers. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mabulula. So what that means, if you read through the tea leaves, that means that Fikile Mabulula has just told the public that the ANC will illegally use the government apparatus of intelligence to spy on members of its party to root them out. Now, if true, this is unlawful activity. But hey, it's them. Whatever. That's the ANC. Well, speaking of the ANC and a secession after Munir Palapala leaves the stage, hopefully soon in a vote of no confidence, but eventually. After Deputy President Paul Mashatile was reportedly preparing to replace Ramaphosa, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mabulula says that they have reached a consensus with Mashatile to halt secession talks for now and focus on reviving the bruised ANC. Well, I think that the ANC should focus on the step-aside rule for corruption-accused Deputy President Paul Mashatile, push him aside, and follow your rule. I mean, you were telling the mayor of Joburg he had to step aside from Al-Jamaa with the step-aside rule, but you don't even make your deputy president accused of massive, pervasive fraud. Somebody explain to me how he has a $26 million rand residence in the Western Cape. Anybody. Where did he get 26 million rand from? Someone want to tell me that? I'd love to have 26 million rand. That's $1 million+, 1.3 million. Where'd that money come from? Where? On his government salary? From his struggle years? Please. Corrupt. Someone needs to go after him. Step aside rule. Well, look, the ANC apparently isn't politically astute, so now we're going to indoctrinate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the indoctrination class. Today's class will be about the need to be loyal to the ANC. Sehr geil, jawohl. You must be loyal to the ANC. When you misbehave, we smack you over the knuckles. The next time, some buck. Oh, that hurts. That's very painful. You'll not do it again. The ANC is rolling out the classes for the politicians, for the cadres, so they know how to behave and be loyal to the Lutuli house. I am not understanding a word coming out of his mouth. Wow. ANC to roll out compulsory courses for all members. Ooh. Innocenta Nkameng tells us that the ANC has launched a compulsory course for all its members on political education, indoctrination. Launched on Monday, all ANC members will have to attend the course physically in person. Ooh, no Zoom sessions, no Teams, and complete 5 modules of the course by December of 2026. Wow. ANC spokesman said this is part of the ANC's renewal strategy to empower members with comprehensive knowledge of the ANC's history, principles, and strategic objectives. Well, that's a complete waste of time. Why would the African National Congress teach people about the history of the ANC? A storied and venerable and noble history from 1912 until 1979. You should tell people about that. But from 79 on, from 1994 on, You're going to teach people how to steal, how to be kleptocrats, how to race hustle, how to oppress minorities. Yeah. Is that what you're going to teach people? Because that's been the history of the African National Congress since 1994. A disreputable, shameful history, particularly since 2008. Unbelievable. Well, the Competition Tribunal in South Africa has blocked another merger or buyout. Well, here you go. This one involves Vodacom. They're seeking to take a 30% stake in Mozambique, worth an estimated $13 billion. And they wanted the option to raise that to 30%, but the Competition Council says no. No. That's a shame. The tribunal's decision follows an extensive hearing that took place over 26 days between May and September. They did not disclose the reasons for allowing the deal to proceed. You want to make a bet? It's about the grift. It's about the vig. Somebody wants to get money. It's all about BEE. You want to bet dollars and donuts when we find out what the real story is? It's all about the BEE. So another economic chance to grow South Africa's economy with the IT sector scuppered. No Starlink, no Vodacom fiber merger. Just piss on you, South Africans. Piss on you. Well, that's what the ANC likes to do, piss on you. Tshwane's new mayor, the former deputy mayor, says the city's in dire financial straits. Duh. We know this because people don't pay their rates because of the corrupt system in South Africa has in which the city functions as a municipal service provider, being the throughput for electricity. Why? I don't use the city for my electricity. I pay my provider directly online every month. And this month it was just $17 compared to last year when it was over $100. Why? Because I have solar panels manufactured in Germany by an Israeli firm. Yeah. So I don't use the city for that. It's a stupid system set up to create jobs for municipal workers that aren't necessary. The city's only role in electricity should be paying its own electric bill. That's it. And maybe social housing, if you had social housing, that's it. Nothing else. But the city is bankrupt. It has been bankrupt for years because people aren't paying their rates. Simple as that. And we've told people this when the DA was in charge. But now, News 24 comes out to let people know that you can't expect too much out of the new Action SA, EFF, ANC government because, well, the DA left it bankrupt. So be patient. They didn't say be patient when the DA was there, when Celius Brink was the mayor. The mayor said Tshwane was in dire financial state. But the deputy mayor said, it's not so bad. The mayor of Tshwane, Nasifwe Moya, told the press that the city's finances were bad enough that it had an unfunded budget, which means that it's bankrupt. In addition, capital expenditures have been halved since 2019. There's no fiscal muscle to deal with the broken water infrastructure, and streetlights were out predominantly because of a lack of maintenance. Well, yeah, because when maintenance workers go to fix those lights, they're assaulted and robbed, point blank. So what's the point? 30 years too late for the ANC. Yep. Yeah, expecting investment from Tajikistan. Well, expecting it for Russia. Russia has virtually no role in South Africa. None. There's virtually no trade with Russia. William Thunderveld is back. It's been donkey years. You always recognize him because he's got the English and the Afrikaans name mixed in. Wi-Fi is so unstable the whole day. Sorry to hear that, Vilma. Thanks for sticking with me anyway. Excuse me. Nasty. That definitely confirms his phlegm. Well, battle of the government of national unity. The Democrat Alliance says it has better communication strategies than ANC. And I say yes, but they still suck. Just the ANC is a really low bar to cross. The DA says the ANC is complacent with communications after maintaining the government majority for 30 years. Yep. Democratic Alliance said Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber had no intention to scoop the president announcing he's signing a historic agreement. No, he didn't. He was just letting people know that this agreement had signed. But the ANC, as I told you, would be angry anytime the DA announces any success and would try to take credit for it, which is what they're trying to do here. It became a major discussion point after Leon Schreiber announced the deal, and the ANC is upset. Yet another brutal, horrific, shameful, harmful farm murders taking place in South Africa, folks. Unbelievable. Yet another one. 2 women, a mother and her daughter, brutally slain after being kidnapped. Mother and daughter's bodies found in an old mine shaft, and the suspect has been arrested. 3 other suspects were taken in for questioning. Cecilia Johanna Fleming, 82, and her daughter Hester Fleming, 52, were found dead in an old mine shaft in De Dieu after a robbery and kidnapping on their farm at the weekend. Police arrested the suspect found in possession of items belonging to a mother and daughter who were found dead. Cecilia Johanna Fleming, 82 years of age, and her daughter Hester Fleming, 52, were kidnapped during a house robbery in Klipprivier, south of Joburg, but the two were found murdered on Monday in an old mine shaft in De Dieu. Suspect was arrested at an informal settlement as he was found in possession of some of the items stolen from the house. He appeared in the Vereeniging Magistrates Court on Monday and was remanded. It is reported the mother and daughter were attacked on their farm in Cayman Road, Eikenhof, near the Eye of Africa estate between Friday night and early hours of Saturday. They entered the premises by cutting the fence and breaking the security gate before ransacking the house and taking 2 vehicles. 3 other men have been taken in for questioning. 2 more brutally murdered South Africans on a farm. When does it end? When does it end? Well, the MK party is fighting itself. Surprise, surprise. No party fights internally like we do, Zuma tells disgruntled MK members as he puts his foot down. Former President Jacob Zuma has reprimanded members of MK, saying he will not allow internal fighting. Well, of course there'll be internal fighting. These are just bum-hurt ANC members. That's all they are. AfriForum's Gerry Nel is angry that Pierre de Vos has not been prosecuted for child pornography. When de Vos's Twitter account retweeted a child pornography image 2 years ago, instead of reporting this to the police, he claimed he had been hacked after he was caught. Didn't tell the police it happened. When law professor Pierre de Vos' Twitter account retweeted a child pornography image 2 years ago, instead of reporting the tweet to the police, de Vos claimed he had been hacked and spent his time deleting other older posts where he mocked people claiming their profiles had been hacked. The director of public prosecutions has since, according to AfriForum, declined to prosecute. AfriForum now wants answers and wrote a strongly worded letter to the National Prosecuting Authority claiming the decision was premature, irrational, and based on an embarrassing and deliberate incomplete investigation. Now I find out for the first time after 2 years that the MPA already made the obvious decision. There was no testimony that would justify prosecution. I don't know what I said recently that angered AfriForum to the point where they are circulating false allegations, said de Vos today. Well, his behavior was strange. He deleted a whole bunch of stuff and that he had previously posted. Don't tweet while drunk. Nobody believes you were hacked. Parliamentary Twitter tips. That's Pierre de Vos. And then here's another one. Who has not had their email account or Twitter account hacked at the time when these accounts sent incriminating messages? Hands up. He had his hand up over ESCOM. Yep. Hacked again. One can easily stop the hacking by changing the settings on Twitter to allow for login verification. Maybe the person who allegedly hacked Malusi Gigaba's phone filed this notice. These are all posts that he tried to hide after mocking people who claimed their accounts were hacked. So what happened? Nothing. Hasn't been prosecuted. No investigation. KwaZulu-Natal woman has been run over and then shot. Horrific situation. A woman was run over by a car and then fatally shot on the KZN North Coast this morning. Medical rescue said that they responded to a shooting incident on the R102 near Etete, which is between Stanger and Balito. Spokesman Samantha Myrick said initial reports were that a woman was struck by motorists who, after crashing into another car, returned to shoot the woman before fleeing on foot. Sadly, the woman has been declared deceased by paramedics. No further information at this time. What the hell? What the hell? Eastern Cape weather warning. Heavy rains and flood warnings have been issued. Eastern Cape has experienced significant rainfall with reports of over 100 millimeters in some areas within just 24 hours as the South African Weather Service issues warnings for potential flooding across the region. Well, an attorney was in a relationship with a 13-year-old girl whom he purchased from her mother. What? An attorney bought a slave, a sex slave? Yep. Welcome to South Africa. Look, it's not just South Africa. This sick, twisted behavior occurs around the world. But this story comes out in South Africa. Boy, that glasses in just a moment left marks on the bridge of my nose. Look at that. Only had it on for a couple moments. Attorney in a relationship with girl 13. He allegedly raped and bought from her mother. A mother accused of pimping out her 2 young daughters is on trial in Gauteng. The co-accused is an attorney who allegedly bought the woman's 13-year-old daughter from her and repeatedly raped her. The court heard from the attorney that he was in a relationship with the child Relationship? I don't think it's a relationship, you sick, twisted bastard. Wow. The mother wants the daughter's identity, the attorney's name kept secret because, of course, it would reveal who the child is. This is twisted. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. News 24 previously reported 38-year-old woman is accused of pimping her 11 and 13-year-old daughters to multiple clients daily around Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal in 2022. The mother allegedly advertised the sexual services of the eldest daughter on adult websites, including Sex Trader and Red Velvet. Two sites I've never even heard of. Sex Trader and Red Velvet. Red Velvet sounds like cake. Wow. Both services are used to promote escorts and stripper services. Using the websites to attract clients, the mother would then allegedly force her daughters to have sex with several clients a day at various guest houses around Boksburg, Heidelberg, and Springs. Hey, Boksburg. Boksburg is very famous for prostitution, folks. You just need to know that. Stay away from there. Yep. Bookings were made for plus minus 9 to 10 clients a day. The attorney allegedly made his first booking with the woman's eldest daughter in September 2022. He had several more bookings to screw this child. And then in December, he approached the mother to buy the child. An amount of 160,000 rand was agreed upon. Accused 2 made a down payment of 24,000 to accused 1 and handed her a motor vehicle for her usage. Good God. What the hell? Public castration, perhaps? I don't know. Turn this person over to a dominatrix and have him just whipped in public? What the hell? These are sick people, man. Sick people. Sold her daughters, an 11-year-old, to be screwed 9 to 10 times a day. These children are messed up now. What a shame. Hey, folks, one of my favorite things in South Africa is a red cappuccino. Well, now South Africa is getting a red espresso. At least they're calling it a red espresso, but I like the red cappuccino, which, of course, is not a cappuccino, but rooibos. Oh, you know, some South Africans don't even know about this. I was in South Africa with a few people that I know, and I was at the mall in Cape Town, Canal Walk, and I ordered a red cappuccino at the coffee place. And somebody said, "What's that?" South African. I'm like, "You don't know what a red cappuccino is?" Well, now, red espresso is taking off globally. Wow, this is incredible. Can the fan boss support this? I don't know. Can they grow enough of it? Superfood coffee drink delivers caffeine-free kicks, good vibes, and well-paid work for locals. On a sun-parched plateau high in South Africa's rugged Cedarburg Mountains, Boltwin Tambor harvests rooibos tea in much the same way as forefathers would have done. Watched over by a cave adorned with 6,000-year-old depictions of elephants and winged medicine men, he slices through a fistful of hardy shrub with a deft flick of his sickle before stashing the meter-long stems between his legs. Working in 40-degree heat, he'll harvest between 300 to 600 kgs of wet tea every day for the next 2 months. Some of this crop will be used as traditional tea, and thanks to the growth of newly imagined beverage, some will end up, curiously, in espresso machines. Yeah. He's a San, and that's what he's doing, harvesting rooibos. Pete and Monique got married fairly late in life, and they started this business. Rooibos espresso. Red cappuccino rocks. I've never had a rooibos espresso. A red, there they are, so there's a couple, got married late in life. The founders of this. Our marketing strategy is all about putting taste first. We now manage to break into the mass retail market, but every product still starts with quality ingredients and superior taste. True, but I've never had a red espresso. I've had red cappuccinos, and so have some of my audience. Erica loves them. Yes. And Nick says, "Oh my gosh, yes, a rooibos cappuccino." Absolutely brilliant. Red cappuccino. Yes, and rooibos is very South African. Unfortunately, South Africa's support for terrorist organizations and veneration of murderers is going to put a damper on exporting rooibos. Just saying. Pierre DeVos was definitely was weird at UCT. All right, Patrick. Didn't know that. Right, continuing on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Dingo Dinkelman has passed away. Legendary for his conservationist efforts. Known as the Steve Irwin of South Africa, the well-known South African conservationist Dingo Nickelman's family have paid homage to the 44-year-old wildlife crusader who died 1 month after he was bitten by a snake. He was bitten by a green mamba last month, and he passed away. Had allergic reaction to anti-venom, and he has passed away. Known as South Africa's Steve Irwin, he first reached global audience in 2017 after winning the Cell C and Blink Pictures Break the Net competition with a series of YouTube videos. Wow. Our 3 children, Taylor, Maddie, and Rex, were central to Dingo. He never missed an opportunity to express his love and pride for his family. Working together, we recently started a new YouTube channel, The Dinkelmans, which focuses on wholesome family content, animal adventures, and conservation. And I'm sure that folks will miss Dingo Dinkelman. Shock announcement coming out of Ireland, where Munster has parted ways with Graham Rowntree after the resounding loss to the Sharks this weekend. Now, they're saying it's by mutual agreement. I'm saying BS. I saw the man's interview after the game. This was not a coach leaving, but a coach who was going to knuckle down on his team that started the season 2-4. He won the championship just 2 years ago in Cape Town, and now he's out on his ear. His, unfortunately, cauliflower ears from being a front rower in rugby. Munster Rugby and Irish Rugby Football Union have announced head coach Graham Rowntree will leave the club with immediate effect by mutual consent. The former Leicester Tigers and England forward took the reins as head coach in the 2022 campaign, led the province to the URC Championship title that season. Yet he's out on his ear now. Rowntree falls on his Munster sword. Wow. The 2023 champions are in 12th place. Shame. It was the province's first title in 12 years when he won that. But now he's out on his ear, literally. Wow. No love there. Police in Botswana have blocked protesters alleging election rigging. Botswana opposition activists took to the streets, the capital of Gaborone, over the weekend ahead of the general elections set for this Wednesday, tomorrow. They wanted to march to Zimbabwe's embassy with a petition that voiced concerns that neighboring country is conspiring to help Botswana's ruling party extend its 58-year hold on power. But they didn't reach their destination because the police stopped them. Wielding guns, batons, and shields, they pushed the marchers and barricaded roads, forcing them to disperse. United Democratic Change Representative Penyo Butale read out a petition despite the failed effort to reach the Zimbabwean embassy. The petition urged Zimbabwe not to interfere in Botswana's election. Butale told Voice America there have been reports Zimbabwe wants to aid the ruling Botswana Democratic Party by helping rig this Wednesday's election. The party has been in power since 1966. Its candidate, Mokgweetsi Eric Masisi, is seeking a second term. He faces 3 challengers, and Mokgweetsi Eric Masisi is wildly unpopular as a fascist totalitarian ruler who has destroyed the reputation of the Botswana Democratic Party in Botswana. So we'll see. Votes are not negotiated, says the opposition candidate. Mozambican candidate Mondlane challenges election results in court. The leading opposition candidate, Mozambique's contentious general elections, Venancio Mondlane, has filed an appeal in the country's constitutional court while saying he is open to dialogue, though votes are not negotiated, they are counted. According to the alternative vote count from the People for the Development of Mozambique, their presidential candidate received 53% of the vote. But the party which counts the votes, the ruling party from Frelimo, said that their candidate, that nobody knows, Chapo, got 70%. Elections. Let's talk more about elections. Why not? Human Rights Watch says that 11 people have been killed in Mozambique election protests so far. Police in Mozambique have killed at least 11 people and injured more than 150 others in violence after a disputed presidential election this month. Protests have rocked the Southern African nation since Daniel Chapo, the ruling Frelimo party candidate, announced the winner on October 9th. Wow. Mozambique security forces have killed at least 11 people. 8 police were also injured. Human Rights Watch said it interviewed 22 different people, including victims, witnesses, physicians, journalists, and government officials, as well as civil society groups. Many, including children as young as 1-year-old, inhaled tear gas that the police fired indiscriminately into residential areas where people weren't even protesting. Yeah. Ghanaian authorities dissolved dozens of political parties with no election date set. Oh, there's another banana republic. Guinea authorities in Guinea-Conakry dissolved dozens of political parties and placed 2 major opposition ones under observation late Monday, while the transitional government has yet to announce a date for elections. The West African country has been led by a military regime since soldiers ousted President Condé in 2021. The West African regional bloc known as ECOWAS has pushed for return to civilian rule, and elections are scheduled for 2025. The mass dissolution of 53 political parties and required observation of 54 others for 3 months is unprecedented. Guinea held its first democratic election in 2010 after decades of authoritarian rule. Wow. So much for democracy in Guinea, another banana republic. North Korea joins Russia in its war. 10,000 soldiers in training, some already on the battlefields in Ukraine. Stop that. Pyongyang's forces could be on the front lines within weeks, and in response to that, the United States has taken the blinders off. Ukrainians are now authorized to use the weapons we give them in any fashion they like, including attacking Moscow, according to government authorities in Washington. I'm going to have to see that one because I'm not convinced. An editorial appears in Business Day, which for the most part is legitimate until it gets to the end and it lies. And let's cover the story. Biden's not a lawyer. No, he failed college. What to expect from Trump presidency? The former president will likely retrench the U.S.'s role in global affairs and pull the U.S. out of the WHO. No, he won't pull us out of the WHO. Those are threats. He will not accede to WHO efforts to have control over countries. The WHO is an advisory body, and Americans will participate in the advisory role of the WHO, but we will not accede to its demands for health because it's a corrupt organization. In a few days, Americans head to the polls, and good. Harris entered the race a bit late. Unlike previous elections, the world Americans have been denied opportunity to thoroughly integrate. Like debates gay. A Trump presidency would be bad for the world. As happened in his first term, which ended in 2020, will likely retrench America's role in global affairs. That's not entirely true. Among unfinished items on his agenda is pulling U.S. out of the World Health Organization. Not accurate. Reducing U.S. contributions to the UN. True. And the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Lie. He'll also continue to bromance with dictators like Kim Jong-un. That's a lie. His first term is remembered for the trade war he started against Chinese imports to the U.S. No, we didn't start the trade war. China started the trade war with tariffs and barriers to our goods. They started the trade war. Let's get the facts right there. Not lie. Business Day. You're factually incorrect. Trump responded to a trade war that China started when we let them in the World Trade Organization in the year 2000. Only in 2017, 17 years later, after abuse and tariffs and barriers on our goods and our services into China, unfair trade practices, did we finally respond. That's not a trade war. That is a response to a trade war. Get your facts right, Business Day. Trump's administration, which was isolationist and posture, scarcely cared about the African continent. Well, the first part is not true. He talked about isolationism, but what did he do? Engage the world. He forced NATO countries to step up and contribute their 2% of GDP, which they had promised years before and failed to do. He did that. That's engaged with NATO. He engaged with North Korea and successfully got them to stop firing ballistic missiles over the Sea of Japan and over Japanese airspace, which, by the way, is an act of war. It's not aggression. It's war. He got them to stop that. He got China to allow American goods and services to go into China that weren't going into China. He renegotiated the horrific NAFTA treaty, which disadvantaged Americans and cost us hundreds of thousands of jobs, shipping our car manufacturing to Mexico and Ontario. He renegotiated. That's international. That's not isolationist. He also ended ISIS in Syria, in Iraq. That's not isolationist. He negotiated the end to the Iraq conflict. That's not isolationist. And he ended U.S. combat operations in Afghanistan. Not isolationist. He rebuilt relations with Japan to the strongest level they've been in decades, and with Taiwan, and with South Korea. That's not isolationist. This is an uninformed, elite bunch of turd balls at a publication that doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Trump preached isolationism, but he engaged the world. George Bush talked about coming back to America, being isolationist. And then he spent his entire presidency spending our national treasure abroad. Because someone says something doesn't mean it's true. They have to actually do something. Business Day doesn't know what it's talking about. Their editorial board that publishes editorial is a lying sack of... We'll stop there. He scarcely cared about the African continent. True story. But neither did Joe Biden. What has Joe Biden done for Africa? Not a damn thing. Not a single policy change. Nothing. No summit, no money, no new programs, no PEPFAR-like programs, no peacekeeping money. In fact, on Joe Biden's watch, country after country after country after country fell to military juntas. Niger, Guinea, Burkina Faso, Mali, Sudan imploding. Somalia imploding, Mozambique imploding, all on Joe Biden's watch. But Donald Trump didn't care about Africa. None of that happened on Trump's watch. But he didn't care about Africa, that's true. And neither does Joe Biden. Neither did Barack Obama. The last president gave a shit about Africa was George Bush. And that was 20 years ago. This was a break from a tradition of Republican presidents like Ronald Reagan and George Bush, who respectively helped end apartheid and poured billions in reducing AIDS-related deaths. Yeah, but you don't point out the Democrats don't do anything. You're talking about Kamala Harris as an option here, but you don't mention that she's done nothing for Africa. For the rest of Africa, Trump presidency would continue with the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. AGOA is a legislation grant. Yeah, that continues. For South Africa, Trump presidency would come at an inopportune time. Yeah, it would. A year ago, South Africa risked the loss of AGOA by failing to condemn Russia's aggression. Last week's statement by President Ramaphosa describing Putin as an ally would not have been missed in Washington, nor would Wednesday's veneration of 3 terrorists by the ANC and self-loathing South African communist Jew Ronnie Kasrils. That won't be missed by us either. Wow. While South Africa cannot pick who becomes U.S. president, can choose how it relates to the U.S. AGOA is an important trading instrument, but it's outdated. How so? South Africa needs to negotiate a comprehensive trade and investment agreement with the U.S. This will require an investment in complex negotiations to get a mutually beneficial trade agreement. Well, there's no mutually beneficial trade agreement. That's stupid. It needs to be, why? Business Day, a business newspaper. They say it's outdated. Why is it outdated? Because you want mutually beneficial. Are you morons? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? You may want to renegotiate AGOA, but for what end? For mutually beneficial? It's not mutually beneficial. We get nothing out of AGOA. How many times do I have to tell stupid Africans this story? We get nothing from AGOA. You get it all. And then you impose 75% tariffs on our chicken imports. Shut up and take the gift. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. If you want to negotiate a comprehensive trade agreement outside of AGOA, then that's okay. But any moron that goes, well, we need to renegotiate AGOA so that both sides benefit from it. Really? Really? If you gave me a beneficial agreement of my products, like if I produce rooibos tea and shipped it to China with no tariffs, I wouldn't argue. I'd say, okay, thanks, appreciate it. Thank you for the gift. Thank you very much. Morons. Morons. Business Day. What do they know about business? Apparently not much. 1 week to go, folks. 1 week from today, it all comes down to the polling stations. Harris and Trump making their final closing arguments, increasingly emphasizing the fear of what could happen if the election goes the other way. True. With 1 week to go before Election Day, the race between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump remains locked in a dead heat. Or at least that's what they want us to believe. I saw that, what's her name? The chica who went to Bowling Green, or was it Miami? It was Bowling Green. And she carried a rifle on campus and she was banned from campus. And because of that, she became famous and she became quite large. She's a big girl now. Is that fat shaming? I wasn't meant to do it. I'm just trying to describe her. I can't think of her name right now, but she does these videos where she walks around. She's always in Florida and places. She went to a university in Florida because she kept hearing that university students were all for Kamala Harris, all leftists. So she had her little whiteboard. I'm thinking about doing the same. Shameful. I'm just going to do the same thing. But I got to find some place like the mall where I won't get in trouble for standing around and getting people's, because, you got to stand on the street, but there are no streets around here that really facilitate it. So I go to Harrisburg. I know what it's going to be. It's an urban center. Anyway, so she's standing with the tally, and people come by and they take the black marker, and surprisingly, 3/4 or more of the people were for Trump, not for Kamala Harris, who were university students. If that's true, if that's a true reflection of what's going on and those people actually vote, woo boy, it is not going to be close, if that's true. But that's just one anecdotal example. Harris denounces the racist rhetoric of Trump's Nazi rally. Vice President Kamala Harris called out the dark grievances and racism that were prominent at former President Trump's MAGA rally at Madison Square Garden. Well, of course she did. She's got nothing else. She said that nonsense last night at Madison Square Garden, that's why people are exhausted with him. Your lies and your word salad and your failures and lack of success in decades of government service is why people are exhausted of you, Kamala. Let me be perfectly honest. Well, they changed the photo again. Washington Times does this all the time. Harris's persistent branding of Trump as a fascist falls flat. Voters are eager for policy solutions. Enough with the swastikas. Democrats are warning that Vice President Harris has overplayed the Nazi card as she slips behind Trump in the final days of the presidential race. She's beginning to trail Trump in the 7 key battleground states at the worst possible moment. Meanwhile, her campaign is ramping up its fear-mongering by warning he would rule the United States like Adolf Hitler. It's going to backfire. This is panic politics and the politics of desperation. 100% agree. Elon Musk is the October surprise, according to the Washington Post, but it's not the Republicans who offer the October surprise, it's always the Democrats. And we've already seen it. John Kelly, Bob Woodward's book, Trump is a Nazi. The list goes on and on. These are all October surprises meant to steal the election from Donald Trump and get support away from him or depress his voters. Well, Now, the Washington Post, where democracy does die in darkness, has come out and said that Elon Musk is the October surprise, even though Elon Musk came out in favor of Donald Trump on July 13th. So Washington Post is a little challenged when it comes to calendars. July, August, September, October. Well, 4 months later, we'll call him the October surprise, even though his surprise came in July. Dr. Phil could be an October surprise. Nobody expected that, to see him speak at a Trump rally. The billionaire Tesla and Space CEO, and also Starlink, owner of X, has interjected himself into presidential race like no other titan before him. That's simply untrue. No American billionaires play politics like Elon Musk. That's a lie. Mark Zuckerberg spent $250 million influencing illegally the election in 2020. This guy is only given like $60 million or $75 million. He's a piker compared to Zuckerberg. It's just that he's more dynamic and more popular than Zuckerberg. People hate Zuckerberg. People love Elon Musk. That's the difference. Nearly 50 million Americans have already cast their ballots. With a week to go before the election, Republicans continue to turn out in higher numbers than in past cycles with early voting underway in 45 states. Nearly 47.5 million Americans have already voted in the election, with 24.24 million doing so in person and more than 23 million casting ballots through the mail at 9 p.m. last night, according to the University of Florida Election Lab. That's nearly a third of the 158 million Americans who voted in the 2020 election. Wow. Early voting. What a dumbass idea. Could Puerto Ricans turn the tables against Trump? Given that Puerto Ricans live overwhelmingly in New York and Puerto Rico, maybe. Nah, not at all. One place it could affect it is the influx of Puerto Ricans into Pennsylvania recently. Not large numbers, but maybe enough to make a difference here. But if people can't take a joke, could Puerto Rico voters hurt Trump in U.S. election after a jibe rally? Remarks by a boring stand-up comedian at a Trump rally could swing the vote in the battleground states like Pennsylvania. Stand-up comic Tony Hinchcliffe on Sunday provoked a hail of anger when he referred to Puerto Rico as a floating island of garbage in a warm-up set in Madison Square Garden. I don't know who invited that guy, but he's boring. He also quipped that Latinos love making babies before likening their presence to an invasion of the country. Well, I don't know who invited that guy, but he doesn't represent me. Elon Musk. Republicans are going viral in a big way for this election. Washington Post analysis found the Republicans are posting more, getting followed more, and going viral more now that the world's richest Trump supporter is running the show. So, also, Elon Musk is running the show. The top political accounts on X have seen their audiences crumble in the months before the election, a signal of the platform's diminishing influence and usefulness to political discourse under billionaire owner Elon Musk. Really? Is saying it's crumbling. Well, I don't think so. That's a lie. Well, ex-Trump strategist and broadcaster Steve Bannon has ended his political prisoner sentence, sentenced to prison illegitimately when previous people were in contempt of Congress, like Eric Holder. They were not sent to jail. But, of course, when the demon rats control government, they send people who refuse to violate their Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Ex-Trump strategist Steve Bannon hits airwaves after prison release, completing his 4-month term for contempt of Congress. Bannon said, "We're going to deliver a knockout blow." Steve Bannon is 70, a right-wing media executive and ex-Trump strategist, completed his 4-month prison term early Tuesday for contempt of Congress. Speaking to followers on his War Room podcast shortly after his release, Bannon said, "I'm not broken, I'm empowered." This is an absolute disgrace. Steve Bannon is a political prisoner, and the first act Donald Trump should do as president is to pardon or, vacate his conviction for contempt of Congress. Congress is contemptible. I don't know how you can be found in contempt of a disreputable, corrupt body like Congress, which is contemptible. Anyway, shameful. Arizona's ballot is too long. It's 17 inches long, and apparently they're terrified it's going to affect the voting. Well, maybe they have a point. We'll see. Arizona's ballot is so long it could create election day problems. Look at that. The guy's hand runs all the way through the photo. Can't even cover the whole thing. In Maricopa County, home to the majority of voters, there are 2 pages, each measuring 17 pages long by 8.5 inches wide when fully unfurled, and are covered front and back in fine print with races, full list of presidential electors from 4 parties, judges seeking to retain their seats, and 13 statewide ballot questions on abortion, taxes, illegal immigration, and a host of other issues. Well, Arizona has too much democracy. A former U.S. Marine has been sentenced to 7 years in prison for a white supremacist plot. We finally found the white supremacist. Jordan Duncan, 29 years of age, pled guilty in North Carolina in June for aiding in the manufacture of a firearm. The manufacture of a firearm? That's illegal? Duncan and 4 other men, including 2 other ex-Marines, were arrested in 2020 in connection with what authorities described as a neo-Nazi plot to sow chaos by targeting the power grid. We've now brought to justice all 5 of the defendants involved in the self-described modern-day SS who conspired, prepared, and trained to attack America's power grid in the name of violent white supremacist ideology, says Attorney General Meritless Garland. Wow. Meanwhile, does anyone provide any information about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump July 13th? Seems a little more important than this. Tom Jarrell, former CBS journalist, has passed away at the age of 89. Globetrotting, or ABC, I said CBS. My apologies, ABC. In his 37 years of the network, he was a White House correspondent, weekend anchor, and correspondent for 2020. I was thinking it was 60 Minutes. Yep. Tom Jarrell, a globetrotting Emmy Award-winning reporter, best known for his work on News Magazine 2020, but also serves the network's chief White House correspondent and weekend news anchor, died on Thursday at a nursing facility in Annapolis, Maryland. He was 89. His death was confirmed by his son, Steve, who said he had a debilitating stroke last year. He started at 2020 in 1979, a year after it came on air, and was there for 23 years. His subjects include the child victims of the Civil War in Mozambique, including a 9-year-old boy forced by rebels to burn down his own house, the return of the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, and famine in Ethiopia. We do not do happy stories together, Janice Tomlin, his longtime producer, said in an interview. You had to be serious trouble for Tom and I to do a story on you. Tom Jarrell, dead at the age of 89. I remember him. Well, there you have it, folks. There you have it. Today's news, October 29th, 2024, right here on Adopt Africa. Thanks for tuning in. Not going anywhere, but thank you for tuning in. Just want to thank everybody. So let me go back and see what's going on with the chat. Here we go. Isn't Biden a lover? Oh, he's a lover. He's not a hater. Only tea my granddaughter drinks is rooibos and local honey. Ooh, don't get me started on that, Nick. I'm a beekeeper. I love me some honey. Vilma says, I don't drink coffee usually, but we bought a Cupertino machine. You mean cappuccino machine? Well, listen, I drank cappuccinos in France. Drink cappuccinos in America. Cappuccinos in South Africa. Good stuff. South Africans know how to do that stuff. Yep. Isn't that ironic yet they're ignored by the left parties in our country? What does Sudan mean in Arabic? Please look it up for us. I don't know. Are you a Steelers Eagles fan? Neither, Pablo Charlie. I hate the Steelers with a passion I reserve for the Patriots. I was a Colts fan as a young man. In 1975, I had moved from Baltimore to Scranton, Pennsylvania. We moved up here. My mother brought us up here to live with my mother and my stepfather and my little half-brother, and then later half-sister in Scranton. One of the most influential times of my life. My grandfather from my stepfather's side was a Merle's Marauder in World War II. Fascinating man. He was a bookbinder back in the day when we had people worked in book factories. Wonderful man. Robert Fox Nicholson. Yeah. Anyway, it was a great experience. Him and my grandmother went there. It's the first time I dealt with death. Stella Nicholson had really bad arthritis when I moved to Scranton, but she was a lovely lady. And Patrick super chatted. Thank you for the super chat, Patrick. 14 Rand. Thank you. That is lekker. Just 2 days left to boost that income for this month on this channel. I very influential time in my life. Moved up there to Scranton, Pennsylvania. And what was I talking about here? Oh, yeah, the Colts. So I got to Scranton, and when we moved up there, one weekend after the National Football League season had started, I hadn't really watched the games. The Colts were on, and they had 1 win and 4 losses to start the season. So the Colts were on, and the reason they're on, I think they were playing the Jets, and we didn't have cable. We just had rabbit ears, but you could pick up New York broadcast because they had a transmission tower that reached Scranton from there. I don't know, it was in Poconos probably. Anyway, so I was watching, or maybe the local television station, I don't remember, but I was watching the football game, and I think it was the Colts versus the Bears. My stepfather said, who do you follow? I said, well, I'm from Baltimore, so I follow the Colts. And it was the first time I ever watched the Colts. 1975. Burt Jones was a quarterback. Lionel Mitchell was a running back. The Looney Tunes were the defensive line of tackles and ends. And they had Roger Carr was a receiver, among others. And it was fantastic. The Colts won 9 consecutive games to finish the season 10-4 and go to the playoffs for the first time since Johnny Unitas had left there a few years prior. Very exciting. They lost to the Steelers. I hate Steelers. And then they lost to the Steelers again later on. So 3 years in a row, they had great seasons. 3 years in a row, they're knocked out in the playoffs. 1 year by the Raiders in one of the most incredible games in the history of the National Football League was the game that the Colts played in Memorial Stadium against the Raiders. Never forget that game. The final was like 38-31 or something like that. It was incredible. Dave Casper beat them. The ghost to the post pass. Yeah. So not a Steelers fan, not an Eagles fan. I like the Eagles color scheme, but I'm not a fan. Just they've never been reliable. And Philadelphia's an arrogant sports town. Very arrogant. Philadelphia sports fans are very obnoxious by and large, most of them. All right, what else you got here? Isn't it the case that most of North Korea's military arsenal is 50s? Not true, Venom. A lot of it's been upgraded in the past 20 years. But yeah, they have old stuff. They spent a lot of time on their nuclear program and their missiles. If I were an American, I would be in isolation, says William. Okay, all right. I'm so tired of this anti-Trump rhetoric. Yep, the world needs Trump to stop the wars. Yep. Joe Biden visited Nelson Mandela and so on. Yeah, I know. It was on Robben Island. So what is Joe looking for in Angola? Money for his family to continue his family criminal enterprise. That's why he's going to Angola. Angola's rich in diamonds and in sisal and in maize and especially in oil. And the Bidens want to get their fingers in the pot by selling America's foreign policy to the the socialist in Angola. And they'll get payoffs, just like Ukraine, just like China, just like all the places where Joe Biden's crime family has made money. We were graylisted under his watch, not his fault, but could have wagged a finger. You were graylisted under Biden's watch, not under Trump's watch. That just occurred 2 years ago. Biden was president. Yep. Sedgefield's here. Good to see you there. Meerkat says today that visit means absolutely nothing. Yep. Yes, on Robben Island. Ken Anderson, that's right. Robben Island in Soweto. Woo! Man, the guy's just a total liar about everything. And Patrick had buffering on the telecom network. Sorry to hear that. I think he actually said he met him in Soweto. No. William Vandervalt, Joe Biden did say he met Nelson Mandela in Soweto on Robben Island. That's what he said. I've covered this story many, many times. Yeah, there you go. Ken just corrected. Nick says, going to miss Graham Dinkelman. Yeah, I never really watched him, but yeah, I'm sure people miss him. My money is Orange Man bad. I think a lot of people. Saudi Arabia is hosting something today with people like Musk, Fink, and Jamie Dimon. Seeing investment opportunities. AWB, BSB, AWB. Who's really running the show? I don't know. What holds does Iran and Russia have on the ANC? I don't know, Meerkat, but apparently they've got something on them, or they're giving them lots of money. One of the two. Yeah, Kamala has not aged well. I am 1 month younger than her, and you don't see any crepe paper here on my neck. You don't see any of the crow's feet. You don't see any of the massive wrinkles that she has. You don't see the saggy face. I may have put on a few pounds with my injury and inability to exercise the past few months since I came back from South Africa. But you don't see me looking like pantsuit Kamala. Boy, she is not taking care of herself. She looks much older than she is. Do you know what the Nazi Party has the word socialist in it? William, obviously don't watch a lot of my content. You are here, but you miss a lot of my content. I did a video last night talking especially about that. Could one of my mods put up the link to my other channel, the original channel that got censored? If you're not a subscriber on @RealChrisWyatt, please go become a subscriber. Could somebody please put that link on there? Do we have a mod here? I haven't seen Hendo here. Maybe Erica, although she's challenged typing. It's just copy the link and paste it for @RealChrisWyatt. William, please check it out. Yes, it's the National Socialist German Workers' Party. Nationalistische Sozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterspartei. I'm very well familiar, and that's why I torch people whenever they claim, like John Kelly did in my video last night. John Kelly claimed that Donald Trump is right-wing like the Nazis. The Nazis were not right-wing. They were left-wing. It's right there in the name. National Socialist German Workers' Party. Socialist. Not national capitalist, not national nationalist party, national socialist. Just like the Soviets, they were left of the political spectrum. Wikipedia and John Kelly are wrong. And I've said this a million times, but I don't have the reach that John Kelly has, so people don't hear it. But I will say it again. Fascism is not a right-wing ideology. Fascism is across the political spectrum. Leftists and people on the right practice fascism. John Kelly says that Donald Trump wants authoritarian control. Donald Trump is an authoritarian, a fascist, except that whenever the Ninth Circuit Court ruled against him, Donald Trump adhered to the rule of law, appealed it, and if he won, he continued. If he lost, they ceased and desisted. Unlike Joe Biden, who goes around the Supreme Court's decisions, banning him from illegally, unconstitutionally giving people tax relief on student loan debt. He keeps trying to come up with other programs, and forgiving debt illegally. Just ignores the courts. Just ignores them. Exceeds his authority every day, and the left says nothing about it. Business Day, no comment about that. No comment about that. Donald Trump, authoritarian. I don't recall the military being activated when the country was on fire in 2020. Minneapolis, New York, D.C., Atlanta, Chicago, Portland, Seattle, all on fire, burning, statues ripped down, people assaulted in the streets, conservatives, black people shot in the streets by leftists. Donald Trump didn't declare martial law. The army wasn't sent out to do anything. Yet John Kelly wants to convince us that Donald Trump would do exactly that. Taking completely out of context Donald Trump's response to Maria Bartiromo on her Sunday program, in which he said, these people are evil. There may be a need to call it the National Guard in some places and maybe in the military. The left is desperate, misquoting, misleading, and lying. And they're just outright lying. I'm receiving mailers telling me that Donald Trump will take away Social Security. No, he won't. Donald Trump is talking about cutting taxes on Social Security benefits. And that's not even in the news. They're not even talking about that. Donald Trump will raise taxes, will cut taxes for billionaires. There's no proposal from Trump to cut taxes for billionaires. There is, however, a proposal for Donald Trump to cut taxes on tips. Who gets tips? Poor waitresses, poor casino workers, poor bartenders. That's who makes tips. Not rich people on Wall Street, not corporate financiers. So who benefits from the tax cuts Donald Trump's proposing? Poor people, middle-class people, and the elderly. It's not cutting taxes for the rich. What a bunch of nonsense. And if he did, so what? That'll fuel the economy. Idiots. Do they know? No, they don't know. Did you see a photo of that older lady who was stripped because she wasn't allowed to wear? No, I didn't see that. I did see that in the San Francisco 49ers game, a lady was wearing a MAGA hat and they refused to allow her access to the stadium when she had valid tickets. She said, I went to the website and looked for banned items. You can't take umbrellas. You can't take, sticks in there, things like that. There's nothing that says you can't take a hat on. It says MAGA, Make America Great Again. Of course, this is not surprising in San Francisco. This is a racist franchise that tolerated and allowed Colin Kaepernick to denigrate patriots of America and the history of our nation with his racist rhetoric. And that's why I don't watch the NFL anymore. That, in fact, it's boring. And it's the all-black supremacy league. No interest to me. No interest to me. Isn't it funny how we hear about how rugby's racist when everyone on Bafana Bafana is black? How we hear that cricket in South Africa is racist when half the team is black, colored, or Asian. We hear that America is a systemically racist country, but 65% of the people in the NFL are black, yet only 12% of the population is black. 78% of the NBA is black, yet only 12% of the population is black. We have black billionaires, Oprah and Robert Johnson, the list goes on and on. Ken Chenault, nearly a billionaire, former CEO of American Express, actually a very good one. But America's systemically racist. What a bunch of horse shit. These people are just liars. Jeff Zuckerberg, that's correct. That's why I got a weak span of Facebook calling Biden a clown. Yeah, Patrick. Well, Facebook is an evil platform. Botswana needs to move closer to the UK, for goodness sake. Mediocre. No, we just need to get rid of Masisi. Send him at the ballot box, and the BDP needs to be smacked down. The opposition's not up to the task, but they can't be any worse than Masisi. So get them out for a little bit. F. Berg. Yeah. Vamos. Okay. Tony Hinchcliffe is a brilliant comedian. He wrote for Al Smith jokes for Trump. Matthew's being funny. He's not a brilliant comedian. He was boring. Rumors have that Elon bought WhatsApp. I have not seen anything like that. I doubt that Zuckerberg would let go of WhatsApp. Meerkat says, the unrest in Mozambique is very concerning. We might end up with refugees crossing the border. I wouldn't worry about that, Meerkat. The problem is confined to Maputo at the moment and is unlikely to lead to large numbers of refugees coming across your border. Even Major League Baseball had lots of Latinos of color. Yeah, there are lots of Latinos. Not many black folks. I think it's only like 6% of the Major League Baseball's black Americans, which is low, underrepresented. But so are white Americans because the league is full of Latinos from the Caribbean. So yeah, lawnmower is racist. Correct. I did a video on that. Lawnmowers are racist. Snow is racist. Whiteout is racist. We should have blackout, but that would be racist too. Blacklisting is so we have gray listing. Apparently gray listing isn't I take offense to that. I have gray hair. So is that an insult to me? I take offense to that racist comment. That's age shaming. Gray listing is age shaming. I'm gray. Damn it. Damn it. Get off my lawn. Giuseppe Garibaldi says 15 minutes a quarter, 4 hours boring. No, not really, Giuseppe. There was a time that the NFL was incredibly fascinating back in the days when Brady and Manning were still in the league. But now it is boring. It's one of the reasons why I don't watch it. But the fact that it's set up that way, it isn't boring. It's just Ronaldo. Oh my God, are you on now, Ronaldo? Are you doing fart jokes, Ronaldo? Is Ronaldo on the air? Is he on now? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's see if Ronaldo's on. He wants my time. He's just desperate for my time. Actually, the Conscious Caracle's on. Son of a gun. Does he have the Kiffness on?
Trying to say this is his
I really don't like this guy. He's got the Kiffness, not the Conscious Caracle. He's an awesome. But the Kiffness, who blew me off in a very rude fashion. I mean, if he said no, it would have been fine. It was very rude and disrespectful. I took offense to that with good reason. But the Kiffness is on the Conscious Caracle. Wow, I had no idea. That's interesting. I'll watch that after the fact. There you go. There he is. Is he telling cat jokes? Is he telling cat jokes? Now we're gonna bomb, just like Ronaldo bombed us. We're gonna go over here and we're gonna bomb the Kiffness on Conscious Caracle. Let me get over here where I'm below. There we go. Conscious Caracle's rocking that mustache, man. Check it out. He's really got that mustache going. Wow, slightly graying, which means I'm allowed to have a righteous opinion. I'm bald listed. I'm on IO Live now. We want to know if you're farted. Ronaldo is bored. What are the San Francisco 49ers named after the doomed? No. They're named after the gold rush, the 49ers. The people who rushed to California in 1849 were known as the 49ers. That's when the gold rush started there. I answered the question yesterday, Ronaldo, and I answered it again today. So let's see what the Kiffness has to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tell us about your cat videos.
An interesting thing for me, and I think it was, the beginning of a sort of awakening, because, I'd probably say my sort of beliefs were very sort of left-leaning up until that point.
Not a surprise.
And then I think
it's when he blew me off.
Because a lot of what I believed, I think, was informed by the media to an extent. But I'm also I'm an artist, Like as an artist,
they tend to be leftist.
You want to think freely and out of the box and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I think during that time something changed in me. I was like, all this stuff about white privilege and whatever the media talk about, trying to make white people feel bad for just being white. I started really questioning. I think I'd kind of started questioning it before that. I was making...
That is the Kiffness. Dave, what's his name? I tried to get him as a guest on my program, early days of the program, and with his little band there. And they were disrespectful and rude to me in the response. I don't know why. There's no need for that. And so I asked again when Ronaldo had them at his event in Port Elizabeth, and they were just as perfunctory and dismissive. That's after he began his transformation. So I have little use for someone like that. I was never rude to the Kiffness and disrespectful, but the only thing I can say about him is his obsession with cat videos borders on the obscene. Look, I don't have a distaste for the guy. I don't dislike the guy, but the conversation he's having right now with Conscious Caracle is a conversation I sought to have with him in 2020 when he was rude to me. So, foot sec. Anyway, that's the Kiffness. He's got millions of views and makes money off his videos, and he does some very good stuff. I remember his Steve Hofmeyer one was a very good one back in the day with a blow-up doll that was very rude and disrespectful to Steve Hofmeyer, but it was very entertaining from a comedic standpoint. Yep. So anyway, so that's the Kiffness. All right, Chris, it's not farts. We refer to them as love calls. I don't know what this obsession with this gas thing is. Again, I told you my chair, and I'll do it right now. And I often put the microphone on mute as I adjust my shorts. And I put on mute when I cough the phlegm up, which some of you watching the program saw earlier. Anyway, want to know, did Chris have gassy relations with his chair, Matthew? Well, keep guessing. Nick says, thanks a man. Don't know this chap, says Arc Precision. Well, that's the Kifness. You can check out his channel. He's got some good stuff on there. The archetypical Cape Town hippie. Yeah. Okay. Slapchad. I want to be hippie. Why is Cape Town the capital of dirty, filthy drug hippies? I don't know, Jan. It's also the gay capital of South Africa, just coincidentally. Hitler also had millions of supporters. That's not a good measuring stick. Huh? What are we talking about there? It is a gaming chair, Patrick. Yes. The problem with these gaming chairs is they don't last very long. The piston loses fluid or something over time, and this one was acting up a couple months ago. I kept sliding down. I don't know what happened, but it's not doing it now. Knock on wood. Why is Russia involved in the war in Sahel? Trying to extract influence and counter Western influence and get access to strategic minerals. That's why. That's the main reasons. Yep, it's a distraction. Cape Town is the San Francisco of Mzansi. Yeah. That's a fair statement, except it's not as nasty as Cape Town. It's not as nasty as San Francisco. Cape Town is affected by the weather, oceans, and mountains. And leftists. It's also affected by leftists. Hey, my beer decal is coming apart. Look at that, man. That sucks. It's ripped off. My goodness. It's coming apart. I need to replace my beer decal. It's a Sam Adams beer decal. Ja, das Bierdeckel. Ja. Leider. Zerstört. The wheels also break for easily in those chairs. I haven't had a problem with the wheels, Charles, but I am having a problem with the carpet that I've got underfoot because it's getting worn down. And I don't want to replace it. I don't mind spending the money. I got a good deal. I think I paid $78 for this one, but that was before Joe Biden's inflation, so it's probably $378 for the same thing now. But the issue is taking it up because it's got a table. This is a dining room table. I don't have a desk here. I haven't found a Brogdingnabian desk. That's what I need. I need a Brogdingnabian desk that I can get in here that's big, that's stable. This thing moves a bit. You see the camera jumps now and then. This is a dining room table with one of the leaves taken out of it. So it's about 5 feet across and about 3.5 feet deep. Large enough pretty much for what I want to do with multiple screens and the studio lights right next to it. I started doing this. I didn't have studio lights, but I quickly realized that you need studio lights. And I got these Chinese studio lights for like $78. That seems to be a good number for everything. And one of the bulbs is blown out, and I was able to get a replacement bulb. That one's looking brighter. That's a replacement bulb. Anyway, so this one's older. But yeah, these are pretty good. Good deal. They're not the most sturdy, but they do the trick, and they've been staying in place for, 4 years now. And then, of course, I got my studio on air light down here, which Ronaldo tried to copy. He's always copying me, man. This young pup doesn't know what he's doing. Did you disappear, Ronaldo? Did you go over and watch the Kifness? That's probably where Ronaldo went. Ronaldo disappeared for the Kifness. Cape Town is nicer, okay? Yeah, it is nicer than San Francisco. Pretty sure it was the epicenter of the trans movement. Really? I didn't know that. Well, it makes sense, the hospital, but I didn't know that. 90% of my family is there, says Giuseppe. Okay? Yeah, I haven't any problem with the wheels in these things, but there is one. Oh crap! There's one on sale at the club. I forgot to mention that to myself. I got to remind myself. They're on. Got my on air before you did. You don't have an on air. You got a live one. I am on air. You have live. Ronaldo's watching the Kifness. Probably his cat videos. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not dumping on the Kifness, but there was no reason to be disrespectful and rude to me and so perfunctory, particularly when I'm on tiny little channels. But because I'm not in South Africa, and maybe they got some Kool-Aid from the Balsan crowd that I work for the CIA or some nonsense like that. Anyway. Okay, Chris, thank you for sharing that disturbing news because of how life has gone for you. That obviously didn't help you in your quest to get through life. Sad that you went through all that. Anyway, but things are brighter today, Chris. Thanks for being here. 85 people currently here, 88 likes. One of those is Ronaldo. Ronaldo, by the way, are you having any edibles tonight? We're just checking in on you, just to make sure. I noticed somebody said the other day, didn't notice my boo sign. That's been up there for weeks because it's Halloween season. And right there is a little jack-o'-lantern. I think I need to run to the discount club today and decide whether I'm going to buy a laptop. Do I have the money? I don't know if I have the money. My laptop sucks buttermilk. I need to get a better one here. It actually is affected it's truly affected my productivity because I have to constantly come to this big machine, a gaming machine, to get work done, and I'm not always here. So When I have the laptop, I can just rotate around and do things away from here and get much more work done. But my laptop is so unreliable. But I'm afraid to buy a new one because the last one was so unreliable. Stephanie Michaels here. Hey, welcome to you. Hey, Ronaldo's in the background, Stephanie. He's busy farting and eating edibles. Current events versus Garfield. Garfield never floated my boat. Never found Garfield even remotely funny. For some reason, people love Garfield. Not my cup of tea. He's okay occasionally. I used to like, was it Bloomsbury? Is that the one? Back in the day, that was a good cartoon, but the guy that wrote it is leftist. He went crazy. Does South Africa do Halloween? Do they hand out biltong to the children? I don't think so. But the people do Halloween all over the world. They follow the American tradition in so many ways in many places. Yep. Make us proud. Calvin and Hobbes. I love Calvin and Hobbes. That was really good. Calvin and Hobbes is a really good one. But yeah, the Bloomsbury, that was really leftist. Yeah. Is Hendo here? I don't see. Oh, Hendo's there. Hendo, did you put the link up to my other channel, or were you not here at the time? I asked one of my mods to put the link up for @RealChrisWyatt because I'm trying to grow the subscriber base. And a lot of people here either weren't with us at the beginning when we were censored in 2020 or 2021, or they discovered the channel after that. So there you go. Thank you, Hendo. Appreciate that. I know you've got handy. Alfred E. Newman. That was from Mad Magazine. Oh, Chris Swanepoel put the link. I'm sorry, Chris. I didn't even see you there. People have been asking about you, Swanee. Where you been? People saying, where's Swanee? I heard, was it yesterday? People like, where's Swanee? Where's Swanee? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't hang out with the dude. If I did, we'd be drinking red cappuccinos. Oh, red cappuccinos. Awesome, man. Loving that stuff. It's funny how I introduced red cappuccino to South Africans. That's just so fun. Oh, you both posted. I didn't see you, Hendo. My apologies. Mercedes South Africa's gone woke. Did you? No, I didn't see what happened with Mercedes South Africa. I heard people talking about, but I didn't hear what the issue was. What did they do? Swanee's always here. Okay, but you didn't respond when people said, where's Swanee? Or maybe I missed it in the chat. We miss things. By the way, I did 6 videos today, starting at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And the last one I did was 11 o'clock today. So in the last 12 hours, I've done 6 videos, 5 in a 4-hour period, produced 4 on the original channel at Real Chris Wyatt and 1 on here. So let's see how the one on here is doing. It wasn't doing particularly well, although yesterday's was doing okay. So let's take a look how things are going there. We refresh the page because it looks pretty sad. ANC's Ronnie Casserol's has 631 views. That's sad. That's so sad. But yesterday's video, the EFF says mowing lawns is racist. It's doing well. 6,300. Not too bad. Not too bad. But this should be like 65,000, So sad. 6,261 views, 15 new subscribers. That's cool. Now, considering the number of subscribers YouTube illegitimately deletes each day, that puts us, 15 new subscribers. Okay, so I've gotten 15 new subscribers from that video in the last 24 hours, yet my subscriber base has grown by 2. By 2. 19,122. I had 19,120 yesterday at this time. And now I have 2 more subscribers, despite the fact that that video has added 15 subscribers. That video alone. Yeah, tell me YouTube's not cheating. Do you think DA will win outright majority in Cape Town in 2026? They should, but there's lots of time for them to screw it up. It's not the analytics. This is BS. This is YouTube removing subscribers. There's no way that all these people have no, Matthew, we know you're not subscribed. Of course you're a subscriber. You wouldn't be able to chat. Only subscribers can chat here. So nice try, Matthew. It just doesn't jive. It doesn't jive. It's kind of like my TikTok account. You have 12,700 viewers on TikTok. You bet every week you've added 100 subscribers or followers, but they're not there. Let me take a look at my TikTok account and see what's going on. I haven't been there in weeks because I don't trust it anymore. TikTok. Let me go to my accounts. 12,700 followers. That is the exact same number. 12,700 followers that I've had for 15 months. What a crock of shit. What a total crock of shit. Yep. And then this one, I tried to load this like 4 times. It just won't load. Oh, now they have it. They're loading it from... You know the thing about professional sports leagues, you have to wonder sometimes if they got their heads up their backside. The Women's National Basketball Association struggled. Anyway, that's a WNBA. I tried to load that thing, and it just won't do anything. So it kept not loading, I guess because I talked about Caitlin Clark. So hang on, this one's good.
Famed Minnesota hunter, Governor Tim Walz, recently went hunting
I better stop there. I'll get a copyright claim. But that's 495 views. Yeah. So I just gave up on TikTok because it's just such a fraudulent platform too. I mean, I had 100,000 plus views on multiple videos, and then, it's nothing. Screw TikTok. I actually got a check for like $2.30 from them. I almost passed out. It was in my account. Okay, cool beans. Yep. Anyway, does YouTube link your subscribers? No, it doesn't. You have to subscribe to the channels independently, and then it takes you off anyway. Is it mowing the lawn or trimming the grass a term in Israel for taking out? No, mowing the lawn or trimming the grass is something related to the nether regions for some people. Keir Starmer needs to leave. Yeah, he does need to leave. I don't care if he destroys a monarch. I care that he destroys freedom. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I won't be here. I have to help my son at the church, says Vilma. Okay. Do you think if AOC 3 times in a row, my mirror will... No, she won't. If you say AOC 3 times in a row, Matthew, you'll get a complimentary invitation as a Republican wanting to date her. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so Volkswagen is scaling down in Germany. Yeah, I saw that, Stephanie. But what's going on in South Africa? That means they're woke. Somebody said they're woke. Yeah, Val says the way things are going with kids these days, they'll hand out condoms rather than sweets for Halloween. That'd be scary. Calvin and Hobbes was pretty good. I like that. You get free makeup lessons. Will we see you in costume on Thursday's News Live? Well, Shawnee, Halloween takes place at different times here in Pennsylvania. Every community has a different time. I don't know when it is. I think it's Wednesday. Maybe it's Thursday. I don't know. Some have it over the weekend. Some have already had it. And it's great for the kids because you can take them to multiple towns and clean up on the candy if your parents are up to it. How do we find your other channels? Okay, Ken, one link has already been put in here. It's the original channel that you followed back in the day. If you go to YouTube and type the @ symbol, Real Chris Wyatt, you'll find that. Okay, if somebody could put that back in there. The other one is Rugby Ascendant. And I have the Paladin Warrior, but I haven't posted anything on there in months. So the 3 that I concentrate on are this one, the original channel, which is mostly U.S. politics now, and then Rugby Ascendant. So that's the 3. Yep. Light Rain says, have you seen how fast AFC is aging? She was never the cute bartender. Kamala. Let me be perfectly honest, Chris. So I'm going to... Oh, gosh. I'll do it. Hang on. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, hang on. I'll do it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I can announce today that I have an exclusive interview with the Vice President of the United States right here on Chris Wyatt Reports. You ready for this? Those of you who hung around until this time, there's 78 of you here currently right now, you are in for a treat. 86, 78. You're in for a treat. Those who didn't go away when I just left the screen, I have an exclusive. Let's get everything up to date here. Okay, I'll make sure I got everybody. Okay, here we go. Yes, Yes, I have an exclusive interview with the Vice President. You ready? Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Vice President, welcome to the program. Well, thank you, Chris. It's lovely to be here. Madam Vice President, many people call you a sock puppet. Well, that's not true. Let me be perfectly clear, Chris. Donald Trump has been running for office for 9 years. 9 years, Madam Vice President. I didn't know that. Didn't seem like that. But maybe it has been 9 years. So, Madam Vice President, can you tell us a little bit about the border? Well, it's a Mexican restaurant on the border. Haven't you been there? It's right here in Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President, our sock puppet, Kamala Harris. Woo! Woo! Sorry, Kamala. Kamala Harris, the sock puppet. There you go, folks. A global exclusive sock puppet Kamala Harris right here on the program. How did the guy from the US become so interested in rugby? Oh, Jenkins. Okay. I've told that story many times, but I'll tell it. There's a X-rated version, and there's also the G-rated version. So let's go with that. She's slightly worn. Yes, she's slightly worn, Kamala. By the way, does anybody recognize these socks? They're from South Africa. All right. Okay, so Jenkins, how did I become it? So as a freshman at university in 1982, I was at a leadership lab on Friday. It sucked going to ROTC, Reserve Officer Training Course classes at university because the labs were always on Friday, and we had to do them every week. The rest of the college students were already eating pizza or chilling out, sleeping, having sex, or going shopping, getting ready for the clubs every Friday when we had class in the Friday afternoon. Same thing happened to me when I took language classes. The German classes always had class on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, you're off, which sucked. Most of the other classes were Monday through Thursday or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. But leadership lab and language, so my Fridays were always sucked up by classes. I never got the time off that others got, but I got a good education. So as a freshman in 1982, one of the upperclassmen, a black guy, said to me, "You coming to the game tonight?" And I said, "The game's tomorrow." He said, "No, not football, rugby." I'm like, "Man, I'm from Appalachia. We just got paved roads and electricity. We don't have rugby. We got baseball, basketball, football, even tennis. I played tennis in high school, but we don't have rugby." He said, no, come on, man. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll meet women. The game is a lot of fun. I'm like, really? So I made my way down to the band practice fields, which is where the Army Corps of Engineers built up the barriers along the Hocking River, which used to overflow its banks and flood the campus every year until they built that in the 60s. And so they built these big banks, and then they had big flat fields out there where the band would practice, and they were also soccer and rugby fields and football practice. So I went down there, and there were no bleachers or stands. People were just standing on the sidelines in touch. I had no idea what the term was. And I just hung out there and watched the game, and one team got destroyed. And I'm watching, I'm like, it's not football. It's not Australian rules football, which I was familiar with because ESPN had just started in 1980, and the only thing they could afford, they're based in Connecticut, they were independent, the only thing they could afford was, things that for almost free, and Australian rules football let them have the broadcast rights for almost free, and so they broadcast that, and so a lot of Americans are introduced to Australian rules football, which is a strange game. But it wasn't Australian rules football, it wasn't the NFL, it wasn't soccer, thank God, but it was similar to football, and I was like, this is cool. And so I really got into the game. One side got obliterated. Two club teams. They must, I don't know what the score must have been, like 48-0 or 63-0. But I met someone at the game. We chatted, had a good time, and I discovered that rugby is a fun game. It's played by gentlemen. After the game, no matter what the score, everybody got along. They shook hands. They had a beer. Women went to the game. They were attractive, unlike some of the women in other sports. They were attractive, and they knew the game. And that's how I was introduced to rugby in 1982. It must have been September 1982 was when I was introduced to rugby. As a history student, I wanted to support a team, but USA didn't have a national side. We had formed two teams to go to the Olympics in 1920 and 1924, but they basically took college students from California, mostly from Berkeley, and formed a team up real quick and went to the Olympics in France and won back-to-back rugby gold medals. We were the defending rugby gold medal champions for the Olympics from 1924 until 2016 in Rio when they put it in the sevens. And we didn't win it. Fiji won it. So we didn't have a national side. Well, I looked at who I'm going to support. I had an interest in Africa. But I looked at England, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, maybe, Scotland, maybe. And I said, well, South Africa. I looked at a storied history, a famous history of rugby there. I said, I'm a South Africa fan. But I couldn't watch the games. They weren't on TV, but I still stuck with the Springboks as a fan. I'd read up about them whenever I could and see how they did. And then shortly after that, I became a Western Province fan. And so I became one and been one ever since. I think Province in 84 and the Springboks in 82, maybe early 83 is when I became a fan. So that's how I got interested in rugby. I played a small amount of rugby while in Africa, mostly on the left wing. And one of my most serious injuries was playing rugby. It was in Djibouti when I planted my heel and I injured my left heel. And boy, did that hurt. I couldn't even walk after that for a long time. It took a while to heal. But been a rugby fan forever. So there you go. Jenkins, did I answer your question? And finally got to my first professional rugby game in South Africa in 2009, I think it was. First time I ever got to go to a game. And I've been to hundreds since then. I've been to Varsity Cup games in South Africa. I've been to Currie Cup. I've been to URC. I've been to Tri-Nations matches. I've been to Rugby Championship matches. I've been to Rugby World Cups in New Zealand, England, Japan, and France. Yep. Yes, I played rugby in Djibouti. Pablo Charlie, that's correct. Jenkins says impressive. I don't know if it's impressive, maybe interesting, but I wish I'd grown up with rugby, given my love for the game. I wish I had a chance to play it as a kid and, maybe play it in college, but it wasn't in the cards. Yeah. No, rugby's played all over Africa. I know. I follow the Sables in Zimbabwe. I follow the Velviches in Namibia. I promote the Velviches at every opportunity, but they just rarely are seen. I've also, when I went to Uganda, I was asked if I wanted to be a coach for the Ugandan national side, to coach the Ugandan team. What an offer that was. I should have taken them up on it. I said, no, I just got here and I'm kind of busy at the embassy. But I wish I'd taken that offer up to be one of the coaches for the Ugandan national side. That would have been really, really cool. But I didn't do that. So, yep. Do I think the voting be free and fair? No, I don't. We already see massive instances of fraud. We've seen ballot boxes burned. Watch my video on the other channel, Stephanie. I did a video last night talking about this. This is what frustrates me. People don't see my channel and my content. I put a lot of work in this video. I'm not attacking you, Stephanie. I'm just saying that it's frustrating. So let's see if I can find that video. Real Chris Wyatt. Here we go. Here it is right there. So this is already taking place right now. This is District Attorney for Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, which is directly adjacent to where I live. If you look to where the purple is and look to the left, that county right there, which looks like kind of a finger pointing up to the right, that's the county I live in. And it's right across, that river separates the two counties, the Susquehanna, one of the major tributaries to Chesapeake Bay. This is District Attorney Heather Adams from Lancaster County. Listen to what she had to say.
Attorney Heather Adams. On Tuesday afternoon, I was contacted by Krista Miller, who is our Chief Clerk of Elections, regarding potentially fraudulent voter registration applications that had recently been received by her office. At that time, she informed me that the Elections Office received approximately 2,500 applications at or near the deadline for registering to vote. While preparing to process these applications, staff noticed that numerous applications appeared to have the same handwriting, were filled out on the same day with unknown signatures, and some were previously registered voters, excuse me, and the signatures on file did not match the signatures on the application.
What you talking about?
Lancaster County detectives began investigating the voter registration applications and immediately found applications that were indeed fraudulent. Indicators of fraud included inaccuracies with the addresses listed on the applications, false personal identification information, as well as false names. A number of the applications also contained names that did not match the provided Social Security information. In some cases, applications contained correct personal identification information, such as the correct address, correct phone number, date of birth, driver's license number, and Social Security number. But the individuals listed on the applications informed detectives that they did not request the form, they did not complete the form, and verified that the signature on the form was not theirs.
All right, so there you go. So that's going on right now, widespread, pervasive. They can lie about all they want, but that is not going to change reality. And they can hide and censor content on YouTube, but I'll just put this on Twitter if I get censored here. So I'm just saying. Anyway, very frustrating that this is going on. Also in Washington State and in Oregon, people have attempted to set ballot drop boxes on fire. One was successfully set on fire and over 400 votes were destroyed. Nothing but ash out of it. The good news for people who did it is they have time now to actually check on their ballot. So okay. So I'm just setting something up here real quick. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. Women are so, what's this? What's going on with Jonathan? It's Ben O'Keefe, not Steve O'Keefe, Ben O'Keefe. All right, folks, thanks for being here. Going to wrap it up here. And I'm going to direct you over to the Kiffness on the Conscious Caracal. So thanks for being here. Take care, and I'll be back tomorrow. So cheers. Tomorrow's a busy day. And also be on Ronaldo tomorrow, listening to him fart all day. Cheers, everybody.